I realize I'm one with the world. I realize I'm one with the world. I realize I'm one with the world.
I'm grateful that the family came here for the christening today. And if the youth want to go to the youth room, you're welcome to, and they're welcome to stay right here in the service. We are in Lent. And as we know from last Sunday, it's 40 days. And we have this beautiful booklet that's available to you all. It's on the welcome table, and it is 40 days of letting go. And every day it features another perspective, another aspect of what we can let go of. How beautiful that is. Today's title is Nonresistance. And this is a spiritual truth that manifests wonderful things for us. And it's right from our booklet. So this is written by Reverend Beatrice E. Gallerano Bell, and it's on page 25 of our Lent booklet. Non-resistance is a process that occurs in our consciousness as we recognize, accept, and affirm that in God there is nothing to fear. She goes on to say, I allow the circumstances and experience of life to wash over me. In this way, I free myself from the state of internal struggle and weakness that opposition and resistance cause. I practice acceptance and live life with no strings attached. Now, what would life be like if there were no strings attached to us? Now, in truth, we're born with an umbilical cord. We're attached. But in order for that baby to live, the umbilical cord has to be cut. Because each of us are on this journey individually. And as we recognize this by this beautiful christening, we have a responsibility to live our lives the best we can. Yes? Yes. Absolutely. And what Reverend Beatrice is really calling us to is to recognize is that everything we have is right with us all the time. Our consciousness, which is at one hand imbued by our sense relative consciousness of being a human being walking in the world, and our spiritual consciousness of being a glorious, Christ-conscious child of God. A child of God grows into God. If you plant an avocado seed and expect it to grow tomatoes, it's not going to happen. But a seed of God grows into God. Eckhart Tolle is a great teacher, written some wonderful books, and he says, to offer no resistance to life is to be in a state of grace, ease, and lightness. Who wants more ease? Yeah. It's by not resisting. It's by accepting what is. Like this morning when I was tripping over words, I could beat myself up till the cows come home, and believe me, I've tried that, and it's just more pain. Or I can just accept it. It's just what is. Release it and be present to what is. And I was fine. How are you? Yeah. Now, if I started beating myself up here, you'd have a whole different opinion of me. What's his problem? Get him off the stage. Light. How heavy is light? How heavy is light? Our Master Jesus, teacher, Jesus said, my way is burden. Not, my way is, see, my words, it's crazy. My way is easy and my burden is light. Well, how heavy is light? And to be light means not being attached to anything, not being oppressed by our thoughts or feelings, and letting go and just being present to what is. Each breath that we take invites us into a resonance with the God light within us. That's not heavy. That's always available and opening up to levels of greater truth, of greater experience. Look at your life. Look at everything you've experienced in your life. It's amazing. It's been quite a journey for each of us. And everything that happened in our life, either really good or challenging or really bad, sometimes really messy or really exciting or great achievement, it still got us to right here where we are today. And it didn't happen by holding on and not letting go. And we all tried it. Didn't work, did it? Because what's past is gone forever. The future, well, it's never going to get here. It never comes. The future never gets here. As soon as it's here, it's already past. Anyway, I love this scripture. I love scripture. And we find wisdom in this Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds, so that you may discern what is the will of God and what is good and acceptable and perfect. Pretty easy scripture to know what it means. There's truth. Truth as we know it to be, that's always true. And in that, we have everything that we need to take our next step, our next breath, our wholeness. And it requires us to spend some of our time in prayer and meditation. A time where we're quiet the mind and allow ourselves to be. This area of peace and tranquility, there is no resistance. The world's going to tell us all kinds of stories. And it will continue to tell all kinds of stories. That's not where our teaching is. Our teaching is from renewing ourselves and choosing the steps we're going to take. Living the peace and the tranquility and the justice that comes from knowing the truth. Are you ready to step into a life where we live in the now, embracing truth and just letting that be? I certainly am. Reverend Marion R. Brown, a Unity minister, wrote a wonderful book called Putting Life Back Together. And in it, he says, truth needs no defense, no justification. If we are living from our Christ self, we do not need to resist other people's opinions of us. To resist them or fight back only puts us on the same level we consider them to be. The thoughts and words we choose to use, the actions and things we say have impact on the people around us. And as we come into a reality where truth is truth, it needs no defense. We don't need to justify what is. Reality is reality. And if someone comes along and says, no, your face is blue, they're entitled to their opinion, but it doesn't change the truth because my face isn't blue. And people say all kinds of things all the time, and it has no bearing on the truth. And in that Christ-centered spirit, we have the capacity to let go of what doesn't work for us. Let go of the error. Let go of the mistakes. Let go of the grief and the anguish. And it's important to recognize that in our journey, we're going to feel things. We're going to feel grief. It's going to come up. It's a truth. It's in the moment. But don't resist the grief. Let it flow. Let it be. You might get a little wet. Might cry a little bit. But it will pass. I know this for myself. I've become actually quite comfortable with grief. For years, I lost many when I lived in New York in the 80s and I was working in the theater, virtually every other person I knew died of AIDS. Thousands of people died. I went to so many memorial services, I lost count. And the grief was ever present because I felt so powerless. But by breathing in, letting it wash over like a wave, it passes. Just like a great big wave on the shore. It crashes on the shore and ebbs back to the ocean. All of our feelings, anger, doubt, shame, fear, they're all going to bubble up. Let it bubble up and let it go like a cloud in our sky. And be present to the truth that we know is true. And that's non-resistance. Thank you. The personal exploration this week is spelled out in the bulletin. It's 4 tips to practice non-resistance. The first one is pay attention to what you say. Words are powerful. They have vibratory power, and they do affect things. So pay attention. Is what I'm saying need to be said? Is it kind? Is it critical? Is it attacking? Is it loving? Practice time in prayer and meditation. Even if this is I do that already, add a little extra time to your prayer and meditation. If you do it in the morning, maybe do it in the night as well. Notice when a problem or challenge arises. If it's arisen, it's in your experience. It's there. Notice. Be aware of it. And number 4 is notice when you are resisting and choose to let go. Whenever we resist, we're going to create more of that we're resisting. What I've discovered about pain, when I'm experiencing pain, if all I am focused on is the pain, and I just want it to go away, I just feel more pain. Where if I just let it be, it's not as painful. And I'm able to rest through the pain. And it's all a choice that I make myself. Are you ready to make the choice to practice non-resistance? Beautiful.